The Sphinx speaks about fear and more. I was watching TV this week, and it was about a group of baboons and their way of life. At one point it was showing the baboons in a time of plenty of fruit growing on the trees. They were not the only ones who liked the fruit. A whole herd of caribous was there as well. These two groups, the baboons and caribous, had a mutual understanding. While eating, they acknowledged each other and worked together as a group to watch out for predators. Suddenly, however, something went wrong, and one of the baboons got hold of a small caribou and killed it. The baboon found out that the caribou was actually really good food. From that moment on, each caribou was afraid of a baboon, and this was implanted within their consciousness, the DNA, and more. Each caribou born after this incident was afraid of baboons, and would never eat alongside them again. Now, as fear is something that also applies to us humans, I asked the Sphinx to know more about how fear and the implementation within our consciousness works. The Sphinx speaks about fear and more. Fear cannot be assigned to just one part of the human, or just one energy or frequency. Fear is sometimes needed, sometimes it is not. There is a fear of certain animals. Almost every human will have a fear of lions, if they would meet them in the wild. This is part of the fear implemented a long time ago, when there were less humans, and an encounter with the lion would almost surely end with the death of the human. At one point humans found ways to protect themselves against the lions, but the fear remained, as the lion also learned how to bypass the protection humans made. This is also why the fear and control system of fear is still prevalent within the human consciousness. Once fear is being used to control humans, and this was done in many ways, the one implementing the fear will find ways to get past the protection humans make, and still find ways to use the fear to control. Fear has been used in many times, and many ways. Fear of death, fear of the underworld, fear of not being able to pass into the underworld. It has been used in every religion, even the New Age religion. Fear of not being loving enough, not being compassionate enough. Fear of if you don't release fear, you will not be able to get to certain parts of you, you will not be able to ascend. The word fear is being assigned to many different energies and feelings, as it has become a word that needs to be feared as well. The moment you read the word fear, you will feel certain emotions rising up within you, and you sometimes deny these emotions access, as you have decided not to feel fear. Yet, these emotions and feelings are still present, and you try using your mind to ignore them. Some assign fear to being a victim. There are different types of victims, and are you really a victim? There are victims of rape. They have fear of being raped again, and this is a very real fear that can stay throughout an entire lifetime. Many have fear of death, even though they say they welcome death sometimes. At the moment of dying, consciously dying, most will have the emotions and feelings of fear, and more come into their experience at that time. Many consider themselves victims of the control system of fear. This is in a way different, as it is not really fear connected to being a victim of the control system. It is more a dissatisfaction with life in general, as life in general is influenced by the control system. The control system is not just fear, it has more feelings, energies, and emotions that are being used to control than just fear. The control system can use every human emotion to control you in many ways. This included the ones that you would call good emotions. The emotions attached to the control system are in many ways more based upon the dissatisfaction of how humans are being controlled than actual fear. The emotions and feelings related to the control system are not just fear. Fear is only a small part of these emotions related to any control systems. Fear is a basic human emotion that is within the human consciousness, and is used to in some ways keep you alive. Just think of yourself being out in nature. There are many things that can hurt you. A natural amount of fear is needed for you to start thinking and preventing those things from hurting you as humans. A natural amount of fear, for example, thinking twice before you cross a street and watch to see if there are any cars coming. This is usually not experienced as fear, but as logical thinking. Yet the emotion, feeling of fear is the basis for this logical thinking. This is why fear is present at this moment within all of you, and cannot be eradicated on all levels, as some levels of the human need the basic emotion of fear as guidance. Fear will not prevent you from moving deeper within. It is the logical thinking of the mind that prevents you from moving deeper within. It is the logical thinking of the human mind that prevents you from more than fear can do by itself. As we move from fear to the so-called victim consciousness, the part where you have decided that you are a victim of the surrounding circumstances, fear is only a small part. Dissatisfaction is the greatest part. Dissatisfaction with life, something you try to get past by using your mind and understanding of the reality around you and the spiritual reality within you. Many try to convince the mind that the reality around you is not real. There are realities out there that are better than this one, and you have seen them, felt them. Others will completely immerse themselves in this feeling of dissatisfaction, and from there hope for a better place, a better reality to come into place, or others to come help them to get out of the reality they're in right now. There is so much more to emotions, feelings, and the way humans think and feel, that it is a hard subject to explain in human words, as much of it is based upon experiencing more than explaining. Every energy, every emotion, every feeling has multiple layers. They can include every emotion, every feeling, and every thought. You cannot assign a certain frequency to certain emotions, as they are all present within all human frequencies, feelings, and emotions. The human consciousness runs through several layers of your being, not just the human layer, and even though those spiritual parts of you might understand feelings and emotions different than the human part, the emotions, feelings, and thinking are present in some of those layers or parts of your being as well. This means the emotion of fear, in its many facets, is present within those layers, those parts of your spiritual being as well. The human consciousness connects in a way with the spiritual consciousness within the higher spiritual parts of your being. In this way you connect and communicate with those parts. In this way you also affect in some way those higher parts of your spiritual being. The effect will be less and less once you move deeper within or connect deeper within to the so-called higher spiritual parts. Yet, the human consciousness is still present, as this is what is used to experience those higher and deeper parts of your being. This is part of the communication and connection process, as everything is translated within the human consciousness and the human mind. You see, every part of your being is needed to connect within. You cannot just eradicate or ignore certain parts of the human to connect fully, as every part of your being is needed to bring the connection with those deeper parts into the human experience. In many ways, every emotion and feeling is needed to understand the connection within, and to connect with the many spiritual parts of your being, as you explore greater worlds beyond the human reality. Do not be afraid of certain emotions and feelings, as they are many times guidelines for how to connect and move deeper within. Yes, fear is present when connecting within to deeper or so-called higher parts within, and they represent a world sometimes not explored before, not known by the human. And some will have some fear, and fear is human and needed. Just as it is a guiding system for you, as a human, it is a guiding system in the spiritual realms. A healthy amount of fear or apprehension is needed to come to a full understanding of other spiritual realms. Just like with everyday human life, some experiences within those realms are not what you would expect, and life within some of those realms is in many ways similar to the earth reality. The ones going to the realms of divine love and divine presence realize that once you go beyond a certain point, some of you create those experiences or realities to satisfy in some way the human understanding that there are better places. Are they real? Some are, some aren't. In a way they're all real and not real. It all depends upon your belief systems and what you want to experience and belief in those other realms of the spiritual world. Always understand that you are experiencing and understanding from the human point of view and the human consciousness. At the deepest levels of your being, these human experiences, human emotions, are not present, and what you experience there cannot be explained through human words no matter how hard you try. It is a world of energy, a world where there is no need for explanations, as it just is what it is. Thought is something that is present within you as a human. Thought is not present within the deepest or highest levels of your being. Any experience you have on those levels is translated through the human mind into something that the human understands, or what the human understands it to be. This understanding can be different for each person, and will in fact always be different from the real experience on those levels. Allow yourself to be a human as well as a spiritual being, as the combination of both is what will ascend you. The Sphinx speaks. June 19, 2013. Petra Margolis. www.ascendedmasters.org